Hello, my name is Colby Sharp, 5th grade teacher in Michigan. Welcome to my channel where we try to help kids fall in love with reading. One way that we do that is by talking about amazing books like this one, Flight of the Puffin. A lot of my friends have been reading this book and talking about how great it is and how wonderful it is. And I listen to my friends because they know books. And that's what we do as readers, right? Like we look for recommendations from our friends. And when they're talking about a book, we read it and then we have high expectations. And then we see Ann's name on the cover and we see Nancy Paulson's name on the side. We have high expectations. And this book did not disappoint. Wow. Wow. I was absolutely blown away. This is a book told from the perspective of 4 characters: Libby, Jack, Vincent, and T. I'm not very good at character names, but I wrote them down, so I didn't want you to think that I just remembered them. Anyways, so it starts with Libby. The book starts with Libby, who is painting this beautiful mural in her school. And then you come to find out that she wasn't supposed to. She just started painting on a wall, and then she gets in trouble, and we learn that she is part of a family that has been in a lot of trouble over the years, starting back at least one generation, and then her brother, and now she appears to be following that same path, where when people see you, they expect you to be a certain way, and it feels like she's starting to make that be true. We have Jack, who goes to this super tiny rural, I think it's a K-8 school. There's like 17 total students in it. It is, I just think it sounds amazing. But we're also learning that something happened with his young brother, something tragic. And that's such a fascinating story. We have Vincent, who lives on the West Coast. The first two, Libby and Jack, are on the East Coast. Vincent lives on the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest. And he doesn't really fit in at school. He's not an athlete. He's not really into like the arts and being creative. The scientist from Hidden Figures is his hero. His mom is super worried about him. Yeah, things are tricky for Vincent. And then we have T. And T is a character who I was like so confused at first, like trying to figure out what was going on with T. And it was just such an interesting character. And I was just so fascinated by this collection of characters. And when you're reading a book like this, you kind of wonder like who's going to carry the book or who's going to lead you through the book. And what was so interesting about Flight of the Puffin was it was just they all brought us along this ride together in a magical way. And the way that these stories, I mean, obviously as a reader, you're thinking, how are these stories connected? And then to find out how they're connected, it blew my mind. And I think that kids are going to love this book for a lot of reasons. I think that teachers are going to love this book for a lot of reasons. So Libby, who is in trouble, and she gets trouble at school, and her parents are upset, and then she just like makes this index card, and she writes this like inspirational phrase on it, and then she puts it in a tree because she sees a kid going into the dentist office, and she wants him to see when he gets out. And then so she kind of likes how that feels to maybe help someone's day. So she makes all of these cards and puts them around places and mails them. And it's really fascinating how through these cards, all of these characters are able to be connected. Also, Jack's school is dealing with some funding issues, and some people, like I guess bigwig people, are thinking that their school maybe isn't working. They don't have like gender neutral bathrooms, and they're just need to get with the times. And it's just fascinating to watch these characters grow in a way that doesn't seem possible for 4 characters to grow like they did in 230-ish pages, but they did. And it was magical. I loved every page. I couldn't stop reading it. And I just had to know what was going to happen. And it just reminded me why I love to read and how reading can help us to grow. And watching these characters grow, I think it's going to be challenging some of the topics that are covered in this book for a lot of kids. And I think that Ann really brilliantly navigates her reader through these issues in a way, these topics in a way that I think is really going to be helpful to kids. So yeah, 5 stars, buy it, read it. It's important. Unfortunately, it's going to be one of those books that a lot of people are going to have issues with some of the things that are talked about and discussed. And it's probably going to end up on some banned book list. Which is all the more reason why we need books like this in the world. So if you want to know what I'm talking about with that, you just read it yourself. You won't regret it. It's a really important book. I can't stop thinking about these kids. And in turn, I can't stop thinking about the kids that are going to have their minds blown by reading it. Flight of the Puffin. So good. It's just, I don't know what else to say. It's so good. Buy it.